Welcome to Modern Plastics TV, the first and largest online TV for the plastics and polymer industry, voice of global plastics industry since 2013.
Technology in blow molding is changing. Today we are going to talk very specific on extrusion blow molding. Jens Schlueter, President of WMueller USA, here with me. Thank you, Mr. Jens, for joining us today. Could you please tell us about WMueller? Where did you start, how it is grown, and how you are changed and grown so big now in the extrusion blow molding industry? What are the secrets make you so big?
Yeah. Okay, maybe it's best to start in the beginning. WMueller in Germany is going to celebrate its 50 years anniversary next year. And I'm, as president of WMueller USA, we are going to celebrate 30 years of having the subsidiary in the United States, from where we serve all the Americas, from Canada all the way down to Argentina. Before Willy Müller, that's where the W comes from, before Willy Müller started this business to build blow molding extrusion heads, he was a service technician himself for blow molding machines. And he lived from 1968 to 73 in the United States, where he was servicing this kind of equipment. And he had a lot of ideas on how to improve the equipment to make it more service friendly, but also to have better processes while processing the different materials. His company did not really listen to it. Long story short, he went back to Germany, and 2 years later he started to build his first own blow molding extrusion head. And he went back to the people he knew in the United States, and they said, if this comes from Willy, then it must be good. And our principles until today are, it needs to have the best performance and it needs to be maintenance friendly. At the time, it all started with monolayer blow molding. Nowadays, we are up to 7 layers for barrier applications and so on. Multi-layer is growing fast for us because markets want more and more PCR in the containers. And there's 2 ways to increase your PCR level. One is to blend it into the monolayer container, but then you need a high quality PCR with no color in it to make a nice container. The little bit cheaper PCRs are the gray ones, and they're all shades of gray. And what you can do in a 2 or 3 layer application, you basically cover the gray shape in the middle layer. And then you put a nice colored layer on the outside of the container. And this is a huge trend at the moment. And I'm proud to say we have always been the market setter, and we are. When you walk around here, you will find 8 machine manufacturers which run their machines with our equipment on it. And it's either 3 layer or 4 layer technology. But over the years, we also have been asked to do other things for blow molding. Equipment, spare parts for machines, service for machines, and we have always said no. We stick with what we are good at, and we work hard to stay on the top of this industry.
You do a lot of research and development. R&D division of you is, I heard that you have a very specific research and development R&D division. Could you elaborate a little on this?
Yes. If you want to stay on the top of developments, you need to do your own R&D. And we are very proud we are the only ones in the industry with 2 lab or technical centers, like we call it. We have 1 7-layer lab machine in our facility in the United States. And here in Germany, we have a much larger technical facility with 3 different blow molding machines. And we just recently added a 20-liter 6-layer machine, which was a huge investment for somebody who doesn't produce bottles. But we need to do that to play around with layer structures, to test new materials, also to test all these different kind of recycled materials. We need the data, we need to understand to convert this into further product development in our engineering. So it's a huge investment for a small company like us, but we have to do this.
So far, so good. What are the latest display you are doing here at K, showing different, which head you are displaying here?
Yes. Like we said, multi-layer is very common in continuous extrusion blow molding. for personal care containers, certain sizes. But there's also discontinuous blow molding for large parts,
Right.
where the plastic parison is very heavy. These parts are made with accumulator heads. An accumulator basically has an extruder which fills the chamber
Right.
with molten plastic, and then a piston pushes it out very fast, and then the mold comes. What we developed completely new is a 3-layer accumulator system, so that you can also use PCR and regrind material in a middle layer and hide it. There was 3-layer accumulator systems before, but these required 3 different pots. So you would fill 3 different pots and then shoot them at the same time. But this needs a lot of space and it's very cost intensive. And we said, what can we do to also help people to replace their existing monolayer accumulators on the machines? So one thing is footprint. So we said we need to develop something which has approximately the same size. But that meant that we do not have the room for 3 different pots. So we had to rethink the concept to merge everything into one thing which looks like a pot from the outside, but the inside is completely different. So we are pushing now 3 layers together at the same time. And this is a big thing for replacement.
Yeah.
This is also a thing we do. We don't have a full machine. You cannot sell a machine from us, just the extrusion side, the hot side. So we work with machine manufacturers, so that goes on brand new machines. But 50% of our business is retrofitting existing machines in the market. So you keep your machine, we even keep the main extruder from the monolayer application, but we replace the head and add more extruders and control equipment. And this is very cost beneficial for the blow molder because it doesn't need a brand new machine.
Right.
And this accumulator blow molding in 3-layer was like the last piece missing in our game.
So, when you talk about PCR going into the middle layer, so sustainability also in the place, as the European norms goes 30%, I think what is the percentage you can add into this machine, 30% or?
Well, in the middle there you can have like 80%.
Up to 80%?
But we have customers which make bottles in 3-layer with 100% PCR. They use the expensive PCR on the outside and blend color in it. Then they have the lower grade PCRs in the middle and another high grade PCR on the inside because that is necessary as it comes in touch with the content of the container or of the bottle. It is possible in 100% in 3 layers. It costs something. But currently, like you said, the regulation here, Europe will be 30% in a certain year for all packaging. In the USA, we have 50 states and they're all like countries themselves. Only 7 have a regulation so far.
Oh, okay.
And they're all different.
Yeah.
But this is a problem. Even if you're a manufacturer of a container in a state with no regulation, you don't know in which state that bottle ends.
Right.
So you have to fulfill the highest legislative demand or what is required, the requirements. So this is playing in our favor. And if something changes and you have 10 machines and you need to convert 10 machines, it's much cheaper to convert 10 machines from mono to 3-layer than buying 10 new machines
Right.
to fulfill that.
Because also you do retrofitting, it solve the problem of big investment instead of buying only
Because
the...
you don't need a new mold, you don't need a new clamping system.
Yeah.
The outtake and all of that you can use.
Oh,
The
that's
outtake roboter doesn't care if it's 2 layers, 3 layer, 1 layer,
Yeah.
6, whatever. But if you buy a new machine, you usually have to buy all these systems new because they're controlled by the machine control.
Right. Also, as in the United States, the norms are still different everywhere. European Union have very clear, PCR regulations or sustainability regulations. How do you see blow molding industry pushing towards the sustainability?
Well, sustainability is more than just the bottle.
Right.
It's how you make the bottle. And this leads me right into the second development we are showing here. Every head, in principle, you open and close die gaps to have more or less plastic. And that needs an actuator. And the actuator can either be hydraulic or all electric. And we started to build them in all electric 15 years ago. So it was time for a new generation. And that's what we're showing. The new all-electric actuators, they need less energy, they are smaller, more compact, which means you need less momentum to move mechanical parts in it, and they have a smaller footprint. So this is our answer to support the machine manufacturer in overall make their machines more sustainable. When it comes to the container made on the machines, yes, PCR, mechanically recycled material, is a big helper in that.
Right.
And that is not only driven, so PCR is driven by legislation, but I personally believe it's driven by brand owners and the market. Because the brand owners also want to stay ahead of the game.
Right.
They are not waiting till the legislation comes. They are ready, they are prepared, and they do even more than they need in some of the bottles. And what also helps is when we talk about the footprint, what many people do not have on the radar right now,
Right.
mechanical PCR has a lower carbon footprint than new virgin material.
Oh, is it?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
So if you use PCR, you reduce the carbon footprint of that bottle. Not
Right.
just because it is recycled, but because the recycling process requires far less energy than it does to produce virgin material.
Virgin material.
So there are several aspects in the market which are driving this development and pushing for our three-layer technology. Multi-layer technology, barrier technology is required when you have a barrier layer in your container. What is a barrier? A barrier is a physical layer inside the structure, inside the wall structure, and it has two functions. It either protects the content of the container from the environment. This is typically in food applications. When you have a barrier layer which keeps the moisture out of the bottle, your food has a longer shelf time. The other functionality of a barrier layer can be to protect the environment from the content of a bottle. That's when we talk about gas, when we talk about chemicals, agrochemicals, etc. Barrier materials, for example, PA or EVOHs, they have very good functionality, but they do not bond with the HDPE material, which is the base of the container. So then you need an adhesive barrier to make it stick. It's a glue barrier. So a typical 6-layer container would be a food application where you have a virgin material on the inside, which comes in contact with the content. Then you have an adhesive layer, you have your barrier layer, you need a second adhesive layer, then comes your PCR layer, and then you have your outer layer with the color master batch. This is usually for milk drinks, anything dairy it's just to increase the shelf time.
Right.
So what makes milk go bad? It's moisture, that is the EVOH for, but the other thing is UV.
Right.
So the 7th layer would be a black layer
The
to barrier,
the
to
UV.
protect from the UV.
Yeah.
We did this in the past, but then a very smart person figured out that you can blend color in the EVOH barrier and you make a black barrier layer, so you don't need the 7th layer anymore. But our machines are still that we can do up to 7 layers.
Latest innovations is good for which market, like Europe, America, or India, Asian market? Which market will benefit out of this?
So you're right, every market is a little bit different. The 3-layer accumulator, we see the largest opportunity in the United States. In the United States, there's still a lot of smaller size containers made on accumulator machines,
Right.
because that's how they were produced 30 years ago.
Right.
The materials didn't have the hang strength to blow mold them continuously. So there's a large footprint of smaller accumulator machines. But now they also need to increase the PCR content of the bottles. And they only have two choices. Either they find, which we have now, a 3-layer accumulator head, or they need to replace that machine with a shuttle continuous extrusion machine in 3-layer. So that is a big portion in the United States. We also see industrial packaging there, household goods, etc. In the Middle East, we see a high need for this for water tanks. Certain countries accept that there will be climate change,
Right.
and smart people understand that we cannot stop it. and these countries get prepared for it. So if you want to build a little house, you have to have a storage water tank in the ground.
Right.
And these are either rotor molded or blow molded.
Right.
And with our technology, you can have a nice inner layer which comes in contact with the water, but you can have a PCR in the middle. So this is a market for this region. South America is the same. There's a lot of continuous and discontinuous extrusion. The accumulator technology plays a big role in the automotive industry for under the hood. We call it under the hood particles, like your duct vent. When you turn on the AC and you have an AC channel in the back, there's a lot of pipes in it, and they are currently all monolayer. And also the automotive industry wants to become more sustainable. So every percentage counts, where you can reduce the footprint of making a car. And this comes back to PCR has a lower footprint. So there's a lot of opportunities for this, but it was really driven by a customer who is making industrial packaging. And they said, well, in the future we can only buy continuous machines because we want to have PCR, but we have so many of these accumulators, it will take us 20 years to replace them all.
Right.
And we said, what if there would be an easy way to transfer an accumulator monolayer machine into a 3-layer? And they said, if you prove that this works, I will buy it.
Okay.
So our new lab machine has also the flexibility. Currently we have installed the 6-layer head for continuous extrusion, but the head on display, which is a 3-layer accumulator head, also has been on this machine to make the first containers. So it's a proven technology.
How is your customers are going to benefit from the latest technology? Energy saving, and how it will be beneficial?
First, as mentioned before a couple of times, the biggest benefit is that you can keep your existing blow molding machine and that you just replace the heart of it. What we do is the hot side of a blow molding machine. We extrude the molten plastic and we push it out to a parison. After that, the blowing is what we call the cold side. So this is the biggest benefit. You keep your machinery and you just change the motor or the heart of the machinery. So the investment to make it a 3-layer or to increase your PCR layers, the investment is lower. Energy consumption, well, it takes a certain amount of energy to melt plastic.
Right.
On the head itself, of course, over the year, we changed heater bands, we developed more efficient heater bands. So we always did something. But most of the energy saving in the process is in the extruders, where we are also pretty strong, where we have good developments. We have an extruder range from 18 millimeter up to 120 millimeter screws. And the best thing is when we really have the whole package extruder. So energy, we always looked at this, and also this new push-out actuators, they are more efficient. It's little parts. The actuator itself, it needs a certain amount of energy to push it out. You cannot reduce that. We cannot change physics, but we can try to use it as good as possible.
Can we go and see the latest display at K 2025, what you are displaying?
Yes, sure. I would love to show it to you. We just have to leave our comfortable seats and go downstairs.
Yeah, no problem. So this is the head what we are displaying here. And could you elaborate on the technology and little more detail about this?
Yes, I will try to explain it as simple as possible. Yeah. Like I mentioned before, from the outside, this looks like a regular monolayer extruder. The magic is happening on the inside of this, where we found a way that this can be fed by 3 different extruders, which then create the layer structure already inside, and then it gets pushed out completely in one shot.
Okay.
So it's a little bit new. From the outside it looks, and like I mentioned before, our goal was not to increase the footprint when going from monolayer to 3-layer in discontinuous extrusion.
Wow, this is going to be a game changer for the industry, because people are going to change a lot of money on investment and definitely on energy, as you said. Energy may be little, but including on the carbon footprint, it is going to do a lot of things.
Yes, and I'm pretty sure, like you see on this little sign here, there's many machine manufacturers which show our heads in 3-layer, 4-layer. This is all continuous. And I would make a bet with you that at the next K show, you will find this running somewhere on a machine of a machine manufacturer. Because like you mentioned, this is a game changer for the industry and for WMueller.
Extrusion blow molding industry is seeing a lot of new innovation in the heads from WMueller, and you can see live here on the machines, different extrusion blow molding machine manufacturers booth also, and here at WMueller, come and see the technology. The team is ready to welcome you, and make sure to visit them here at hall number 14, A38, and there will be people ready to receive you and explain you the technology. Thank you so much for joining Modern Plastics TV, Mr. Jens.
I have to thank you personally and in the name of the company. It was a pleasure speaking with you. I enjoyed the interview. Of course, we enjoyed to speak to customers, potential customers. This is what we're here for every 3 years. There's no stupid question. Just come and we will try to help you. And maybe we can even solve one of your problems in extrusion blow molding. That's what we are known for. Thank you very much and see you here in Hall 14, booth A38. Thank you.